it is time to tune up the band and celebrate good times. Come on. Da-da-da-da, DMCA. Woo, woo. It is another episode of the Sweet Chinwag Podcast. I am Sam, alongside Dan and Riordan, as we continue our journey through the wacky world of professional wrestling. Hello there, chaps. How you doing?
I can't, I'm sorry.
I appreciate it.
It's just perfect, really. What can I say to that?
Yeah.
It's been a hell of a year, and I'm so surprised I've managed to come up with 51 different takes on tuning up the band.
Yeah, I know, right?
This is the power of the human mind.
I don't know whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, if I'm honest.
Both.
Oh, but yes, man, like 51 episodes in, it's absolutely insane.
We're going to be verging on like 92 hours of audio, which is terrifying.
Just terrifying.
92 hours of us babbling on about professional wrestling.
Again, terrifying.
92 hours of me wanting this to be a Booker T Stan podcast.
Oh no, it's fully ended up being a Booker T Stan podcast. Let's be honest.
Hey.
Yes. As much as Booker T is slowly edging his way to making me like him slightly less and less.
It happens to everyone.
I know what you mean, Dad. Like, I love Booker, but on his podcast he does say some silly things, but I can't help but freaking love him.
Sometimes he just gets a bit out of pocket.
Yeah, just a tiny bit. Alrighty, as ever, we give you this podcast and have been for this past year thanks to those lovely people over at SoundCloud, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and Apple Podcasts. And most recently, of course, every single Wednesday over on Project Dits. Always, forever, pending other platforms. Almost forgot that one.
Always.
How could you forget? Come on.
It's been 51 episodes. Yeah, it's 51 episodes. Always be pending.
Always.
Always.
This is I completely forgot. Like, great, 50 episodes in, and I forget the one gimmick of us is that we're always pending.
Yeah. Like I said, come on, know the product.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Alrighty then, so before we get on to our very special episode, which is a Q&A session about us, about life, about wrestling, and anything and everything in between, it is time to visit Dan for this week's juicy, very juicy, may I add, installment of wrestling news.
Dun 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 down.
Wrestling news.
Oh, that was more juice than Juice Robinson there.
There you go. There we go.
Juicy. So first off, one thing I'm just going to quickly address. There's a tweet that's been going around from, I'm going to say, a fairly popular creator, which said, is it time to talk about Bobby Lashley failing as WWE champion? Now, first things first, I'm just going to say this. This follows the canon of tweets that I don't like, where people pose an opinion and then they say, I'm just asking the question, when you've said it as a statement, which is a separate thing entirely. It annoys me to no end. And I'm eternally annoyed by people who, post disingenuous opinions for the sake of reaction and engagement. We'll get into that later in the Q&A, though, because there's a question that's kind of similar to that. But I want to say that if you're looking at this and you're seeing Bobby Lashley as the problem, I would argue you are not really tuned to the product in the same way that we are.
Yeah, I was going to say, Bobby Lashley failing as WWE champion?
Because Bobby Lashley is pretty consistently one of the best parts of Raw.
I think we've gone on record as saying that the Hurt Business was one of the best parts of 2020. So to say that Bobby Lashley is failing, I just
don't see it, because to me, Bobby Lashley is at least one of the most consistent pieces of Raw. The thing that's Raw's challenge right now is the third hour,
as ever,
and B, that the booking, the writing, and everything is just starting to alienate people.
Yeah.
It's not Lashley's fault that he's being stuck in, difficult situations as much.
Yeah, it's not an enviable position.
It's like I said to some people that I've been interacting with. It's like, what are you supposed to do when every feud turns into a best of 17 series?
I feel, which reminds me, is the rivalry with Cesaro and Sheamus still going on? I think it is, isn't it?
Probably. And like I said, it kind of always runs back into this same thing of like when it's kind of got to the point now where people who do Raw review shows are choosing not to do them.
Yeah, I mean, that's become like, I've noticed that since the turn of the year. I feel like a lot of channels and content creators online, I mean, everyone was quite annoyed with Raw at the end of the year, but since 2021, I have seen a lot of people's moods dip dramatically. Everyone, from Cultaholic to Wrestle Talk, Steven Larson, everyone's just so exasperated with Raw.
Yeah, because it's like what I said to my friends. I was like, the thing is I often go into checking, Raw results, and I'm like, oh, it was this match again?
Mm.
And the thing is, that's been pretty consistent, pretty much the pandemic period.
Yeah, remember, I personally...
Because I can remember from the early episodes going over the fucking best of 9 Aleister Black Murphy series.
Yes.
Alone Seth Rollins and Rey Mysterio.
Yeah, I think if you go back into the Sweet Chinwag archives, side note,
you'll probably find us going week by week through the same matches.
And holy hell, we have archives. And but I remember, if I recall correctly, I tapped out from watching Raw. In the pandemic because I just couldn't, and I feel like I might have been on the vanguard of that.
Pretty much.
Yeah. And so I feel like it's not in the right place to put this on Lashley at all.
No. It was. I mean, especially I know a lot of people.
It's a whole thing to get into the whole element of what is good and what is bad booking and everything like that. And, trying to figure out exactly what the issue on Raw is, because at least in my mind it is a combination of a whole bunch of things.
Oh gosh, yeah.
It is about 7 different factors all interacting with each other.
But as I said, we're no experts. We're 3 numpties from the southeast of England. So what do we really know about this?
Yeah, I don't know the inner workings of WWE. As surprising as that might be to people that listen to this.
Very true. It's just it's a very trying time, I feel, for the WWE product as a whole. And given what we're going to be talking about soon enough in this news segment, calling into question the future of WWE as a whole. It's a very weird time.
Yeah.
Very weird time.
Well, let's get into that next bit. We've obviously had a new spate of releases. High-profile names included amongst them.
Yeah.
So we'll give you the full rundown now. Everyone who's listening has probably already heard these before and seen our reaction to it on Twitter and things like that. We have Braun Strowman, Aleister Black, Lana, Murphy, Ruby Riott, and Santana Garrett.
I swear to God, I leave my computer for one day and then suddenly some of the biggest news in wrestling happens.
Imagine I'm there, right? I'm filling out job applications and then I just see this.
Literally, I literally was on Reddit randomly, and then my spider sense just kind of tingled, and I was like, I haven't gone on Squared Circle in a bit. What's going on? And I just click, and I'm like, oh my God.
But I mean, obviously, let's get straight into these. For me, the biggest shock was Aleister Black.
Same.
But I think for a lot of people, a big shock was Braun Strowman.
Yeah,
because
that's
for
me,
a lot of
personally.
people, Braun Strowman is the prototypical WWE guy.
Yeah. And you would have never thought in a million years
from the ground up.
Yeah.
By them to work their style in their image, is exactly what they want. And he was a world champion last year.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will say, like, Aleister Black, I hate to say it, I've always thought that, like, ever since he moved to the main roster, his days were numbered. It's shocking that they did that in the midst of him doing promos and looking to be building up for a thing with Big E. But apart from that, to be honest, I'm not surprised. To be quite blunt.
Well, yeah.
Braun
So,
Strowman,
obviously, in the fallout to this, while I was there, I did jump on Tommy's stream. Tommy, Alistair. I did jump on his stream talking about it, and a lot of it seems like it was just a matter of circumstances just not lining up right. The thing he made clear was he had big support backstage. Like, he had people who were fully invested in him. He had the backing of Vince. He had huge backing from Paul Heyman. And they were prepared to go on him. As he said, he was supposed to win the US title from Andrade, but they decided that they didn't want him to win a main roster title without fans there. That he always had support. He was given a pretty distinct amount of creative control in his latest character, the Dark Father. That Dark Father was meant to have a new theme, which was due to debut this edition of SmackDown, which we won't get to hear, unfortunately. And at least as far as I can understand it, all the people who have been in this set of releases are all people who fairly recently re-signed contracts.
Yes.
That's even more surprising, you know. Like,
it's not the names for me; it's the timing. I think that gets me.
Yeah, I think that is it for a lot of people, because like with like last year, it all kind of came on one day, and a couple NXT people came a few days after.
Yeah, and this
Whereas,
is
like,
just
this year, it's been like one to another to another.
Yeah,
this has been over a very prolonged period of time, and I have feelings about this. I'll get to that soon enough, but I do have some feelings about it. But it has been such a long, prolonged period of time. These releases.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess for myself, it definitely gives a pretty clear image as to where they see themselves, because, again, frankly, their decision to release Ruby Riott, aka Heidi Lovelace, insanity to me.
Yes.
Like, again, I mean, we've said this on socials and stuff like that. Any place that these people go to, they're going to be in a good position.
Yes, absolutely.
And any company that decides to pick up Heidi/Ruby is going to be in a great place.
Absolutely. Buddy Murphy surprised the heck out of me as well with these releases, because here was a guy with I think you could definitely say
the ceiling was so high.
The most untapped potential in the main roster.
Yes, absolutely. I'd agree. He's up there as one of those ones. I'd agree with that.
He had an amazing set of matches last year with Aleister Black. I mean, those two really went out of their way to go, screw this, we're not having a WWE style match. We're just going to go out there and kick lumps out of each other.
Yeah.
And I thought then I was like, all right, well they're both just solidified their place in the roster for years. How wrong I was.
Yeah, I think the thing is with Buddy Murphy is that the more I saw him, the more I thought, I don't know that he fits the WWE fold.
Yeah, because when this
he just kind of seemed to be in a different. He just kind of seemed to exist in a different space than other people.
Yeah,
and that's not meant to be to his detriment or anything like that. I just think that he kind of was in a different performance space.
Absolutely.
I think it's kind of similar to like when we've spoken about, like kind of like when we've spoken about like Shinsuke and when Pac was there. You know, they're just operating in a different sense to other people that they're putting them with.
Yeah.
Mm.
Agreed. I think you only have to look at the match he had with Mustafa Ali on 205 Live to know and see that. But when I heard it, I'm going, well, he's going to New Japan. There is no doubt in my mind, no question in my mind. Is booking it to New Japan as soon as possible.
I'm just saying, right? Buddy Murphy versus El Despy, IWGP Junior Heavyweight. Or Buddy Murphy at BOSJ.
Yep.
Just saying.
Yes, please.
I mean, again, like, it's just crazy to see these people, and it just kind of come through as like the next wave of them.
Yeah. So I wanted to say my feelings about all of this, and I spoke to a couple of friends of mine about this, and of course it's no secret. The rumor's no secret to anyone who keeps up with it. But I wanted to pose this to you. Do you get the feeling that this is Nick Khan cleaning house so he can butter up a better sale of the company?
So this is obviously the thing that's been running around, and it was, I mean, I don't know if it was first put forward by SRS, but he was the first person I saw that said it. And I mean, part of that is like, I look at, it's actually kind of odd, really, because recently quite a few big media companies have had absolute huge exoduses of staff. Because, I mean, we can't forget, just recently WWE let go, 30 to 60 digital editing staff and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Disney recently released something like 30,000 people.
Something crazy, yeah. It was like,
across the corporation.
Yeah, we're just like, we are only like a couple of weeks away from the big Warner Brothers AT&T clusterfuck.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, it's going to be the Time Warner AOL merger all over again, isn't it?
Which was an absolute catastrophe,
as we all know.
Yeah. So that's obviously part of it, and there's a whole bunch more like huge media companies that are going to be factoring into that as well, that are laying off people. I can't remember, but another big film media company recently let go like 500 different members of staff from various departments. I mean, I think the thing for this is obviously we're in the approach to Q3. So obviously anything they do now is going to show up then. And for obviously most clearly in Q3, it'll be the impact of the previous releases, which were mostly people on somewhat smaller contracts or near the end of their contracts. So posturing like this is certainly interesting.
Yes.
I think one thing to say is obviously WWE is hugely decentralized. What with the Peacock deal, and SmackDown being mostly under control from Fox and USA and stuff like that. So I think it's interesting. I think it's interesting to see where we are. It definitely screams corporate sale.
Gosh, yeah.
I can't see them making any moves within the next. Or I can't see them making any moves within 3 years.
Yeah.
My I saw a lot of that building up for sale, and I would normally call that alarmist. If Strowman wasn't on that list, I would call it alarmist. I think that's the key thing for me.
Yeah.
The rest of them, you could make very good arguments that they were on their ways out anyway. But Strowman is a real one that kind of pricks my ears up about it being a sale, and what with the corporate climate just. Yeah. Bleeding employees across every entertainment industry. That's what gets my attention and thinks that it's possible. The time scale, you could make a debate about that until the cows come home. But
Exactly.
I do, yeah. But I do I do think it is. Yeah, it does feel that way to me.
Interesting.
I will agree with you, Sam. Sorry, I will agree with you quickly that I do believe this is Nick Khan.
Yeah, like he's made quite an impact since being brought on last August. Like he's made his intentions very clear. Like I believe, if the rumors and the speculation is anything to go by, he was the one that spearheaded selling off the network to NBC. He's been the one to very much cut down departments or just get rid of them entirely. Like he's made his presence very well known, I feel, in WWE for sure. And hell, I mean, I guess the next question is like, if this is where they're positioning themselves for, who do you think would go for them? Like, what company do you think would purchase WWE? I mean, in all honesty, intents and purposes, I feel NBC would probably be the prime candidate, mostly because of their long established relationship, Vince and Dick Ebersol especially. I think it makes the most sense, I guess, in the most realistic sense. If they were going to sell it, it would probably be NBC.
Yeah, so obviously that is one big thing. Again, this is speculation / rumor, but I've seen quite a few people kind of throwing it around, so I think it might be worth consideration. Which is that, there are WWE shareholders that are willing to sell. Now, of course, that could just be something someone says in this climate.
True.
Yeah.
And have very little behind it. I would say NBC seems like the obvious option, given the ties that they have and the fact they have the network as well.
Yep. Let's not forget the XFL as well.
The XFL. But I mean, because again, like the thing is, people have been throwing around Disney, and I just can't see Disney taking it. I don't know why they.
I was actually going to say Disney, and I will explain why.
Because they tried getting ECW. That one's
they played the long game. No. But in all honesty, the reason it comes to mind is simply because of ESPN.
Yeah,
that's true. That's true.
That's
they are a Disney property.
Yeah, they are, and I had to quickly look that up just to check my work on that. But they are owned. 80% of the company is owned by Disney. So I feel like that's a big thing. You could get so many of their their documentaries in, and and it gives them the prestige that they've always wanted. Also, on the other side of things, corporately, Disney has always, right now in their big monopoly phase, it's been if we can't build it, buy it.
Yeah.
And they have always Disney, and what with to be honest though, I would have said it would have been more if John Cena was still in the company actively. I would have been screaming to the hills that it's Disney, because they would want that money.
Yeah.
But even to that side, just the product as it stands says Disney to me. So they could work with it.
Imagine if they were acquired by Disney and suddenly Kingdom Hearts 4 as a stage where it's nothing but WWE.
Please.
Riku and Sora fighting with John Cena.
That is such.
Sora learns how to RKO a Hydra.
I am hearing The Undertaker talking about the darkness, and my brain is bleeding.
Yes.
That's so accurate, though.
They go Maleficent, Pete, The Undertaker.
That's awesome.
Let's move this on. Let's move this on.
In all honesty, the one thing it's done, it's got people talking, us included.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
It is free exposure.
Exactly.
I cannot lie. Or if you want, and just so I can get the meme in, my cursed reality, it's actually Bushi Road. And it's going the other way.
New Japan owns everything.
And we will now get a WWE gacha game.
Oh god.
Oh, no. Oof, oof. But yeah, that's my thoughts on it, to be honest.
Yeah, it's interesting, to say the very least. Should we talk about what's going on the other side of wrestling, though, Dan? Double or Nothing happened, didn't it?
Double or Nothing did happen, and I mean, to be fair, pretty much everything that I've looked at has kind of been subsumed by everything else, so part of me not remembering stuff.
I really enjoyed Double or Nothing. It's like
I enjoyed Double or Nothing.
I tweeted after I watched it. It's like when they hit it out of the park.
Oh, yeah.
AEW do, and this pay-per-view proved it. Now, granted, a couple of slip-ups. We'll talk about the explosion at Revolution, of course, and the exploding death match. We talk about the shoddy camera angles of the blood and guts match. But this one, yes, it's like I'm so happy for them, because it's like when they do hit it, they hit it perfectly. It was great seeing a full crowd back at Daly's place. They were all for it right from the get-go. Like, as soon as Hangman Page went out, they were all in, the crowd, and it was great. It made it so much more enjoyable, for sure.
I love Hangman so much.
He's over. Like, and then the tag match with the Bucks and Mox and Kingston happened, and this is when I tweeted, seriously, AEW, put the title on Eddie Kingston, because he's over as hell.
Oh, no, he is so over the fans, as he rightfully should be.
Absolutely.
And as fans should rightfully know to do.
And
I will say, and I know what this is going to open me up to, which is more messages from fans of them, but I am progressively getting more and more tired of the Young Bucks.
I agree. They went a little bit too overboard with this tag match. This is me coming from the guy who voted them as my favourite tag team of last year. Again, it's that thing of, look, when they do it right, the Bucks are phenomenal. But sometimes they can be too silly for their own good. And recently, they've been way too silly for their own good. It's like, you don't need to, Matt and Nick. I understand, like, right, you're VPs of your own company, and, you've got the freedom to do whatever you want, and sometimes it's a very hit or miss thing, and you're learning on the go. Great. But, guys, dial it back just a little bit, and you'll be fine.
I just think the thing for me, and I don't want this to be a thing of, like, throwing out the whole thing of, like, oh, well, they're only champions because they're EVPs, and I'm like, that isn't where I'm coming from with this. I just think in a company that's espousing so much support for its tag division, I'm not saying the tag titles need to change every week or anything.
Oh gosh, no.
Just before anyone tries to do that to me. I don't know, I just feel like maybe the Young Bucks reign is starting to become a little grating, a little tiring.
I get what you mean. I feel like if they were going to hold the titles, they don't need to do an extremely long reign, because they're the Young Bucks. I think, if anything, they've solidified themselves as legends. So if they were going to have a title run, I would imagine it would have been, in my mind, if I was going to be in that sort of position of creative, it would have been not a transitional champions, but ones to really bolster a tag team that, that solidifies them as a genuine contender, and ones that can get over with their fans.
Yeah, it's like, I like the idea of them using the status to, and having the titles to put someone over, but I feel like a little bit of the booking is kind of left to be desired, as in creating someone who can win it off them. Exactly.
It'll be interesting to see who will win the tag titles off of them, because I honestly thought that they would have. I thought that the way the reception was going and the way they were going to go for it, I thought Mox and Kingston sound like I would have put the titles on them at Double or Nothing, because I would have called an audible just to hear that reception from them. But I'm not Tony Khan, so
yeah.
Apart from that, though, Anthony Ogogo did a fantastic job in only his third match.
Ogogo, like, I mean, he basically won my heart with the bit with the. I'm saying unintentionally botched build.
Yep.
Won my heart over, but like genuinely, he can go. He can go.
And does a mean frog splash as well.
Does. Genuinely, I'm so happy to see him doing well and succeeding.
Well,
and just being able to show his love for the business through the way he wrestles.
yes. No, I got that immediately from that match with Cody, and I was like, you know what? A lot of people will have a go at him, and yes, he's a rookie still, but I think there's a lot of great potential there with Anthony Ogogo.
Oh, there's a lot of great potential. I want to give a shout out to Sheeta versus Britt Baker as well.
What a match that was.
My one thing with this match is going to be a lot of the reaction I saw to it basically can be summed up in tell me you haven't watched a Joshi match without telling me you haven't watched a Joshi match before.
Yeah.
Because this was genuinely a really well worked match playing to Sheeta's style.
Yes.
I guess in terms of how the match went, it might be a little bit odd to some people in that like actually the starting and middle stretches were quite slow. Mm-hmm. But then it like really picked up at the end.
Yeah.
But no, I absolutely loved it, and I was happy to see Britt, you know, taking Sheeta to task on her level.
Yeah.
And just showing that she can operate on that different level.
Christ,
especially compared to where she was before.
Yeah.
You know, at like the start of last year.
She is so versatile as a performer. It's crazy.
Absolutely.
World title match. Thoroughly enjoyed that one. As well as Stadium Stampede as well. So I genuinely enjoyed every match, even if there were some hit and miss ones. I was a little bit more mixed on Stadium Stampede. It kind of felt redundant. Yeah, given especially last year's one. Now that they had the fans back. Yes. And so like great moments from it, like the telephone spot and the megaphone spot, which made me laugh. No, there were absolutely some great moments. And that world title match just really played to the strengths of every person. I'm still throwing my hand up and throwing it out there. Pac should absolutely hold the AEW world title. He is worthy of it and will be a fantastic holder of that title. I'm saying this right now. If I was going to book it, I would have been like, you know what? Give Pac the world title and establish an incredible rivalry. I kind of go throwback to the very start of AEW. Why not Hangman Page and Pac for the world title? I mean, would you see that, Riordan?
Hell yeah, I would see that. I mean, come on, man. Come on now.
The funny thing is, though, is that I one of the things I would love them to go for is build a long-term pseudo rivalry between Pac and Cassidy. Yes, because like that match at Revolution got Cassidy over so much, and I feel like that rivalry has never ended, and they really should play on that. And like again, this I mean the benefit that AEW had is that they can have Orange Cassidy, and they don't need to give him the title. Exactly. He doesn't need to hold it, and I'm not saying that as in he doesn't deserve it. But the way his character works and the way they're using him, he doesn't need the title. But he can be there, he can go, and he can be reliable. Exactly. And I feel that's been the credo of Orange Cassidy's entire career, from when he was Fire to now. And so I would love it if there was just a thing where Pac just continually gets more and more pissed off that Orange Cassidy is there. No, I would be up for that. I mean, if the rumor is to go by anything, that there will be a trios title, Death Triangle versus the Best Friends. Death Triangle trios title easily. You've got Phoenix and you've got Penta, who both trained in the lucha style, where trios is the standard tag match. There you go. You got set rivalry. Yeah, with Pac and Cassidy, Best Friends, Death Triangle, go at it. Yeah, you're basically preset, but like again, I'm looking at AEW, and they've got so many great people they could give their title to right now. Because obviously we know Hangman Page is coming eventually. Oh gosh, When remains to be seen, but it's coming. I see Pac. I see Brian Cage when they're ready to pull the trigger.
Eddie Kingston.
Eddie Kingston. And then again you've got Penta, Phoenix.
I'd love the day it shocks everyone when they actually put the world title on Penta that'll be a very interesting day to see the fallout from that on Twitter.
It is genuinely fantastic that the place that they're in right now.
It's nice to see, and if anything, I'll say this: it's nothing about drawing lines, picking a side. If anything, of what AEW is doing, the fact they've got an incredibly talented roster really should be like, all right, this should and has to bolster everything that WWE is doing. So in essence, we should get two incredibly talented, great mainstream companies. That's the hope. That's the hope and dream as a wrestling fan.
Yeah, competition breeds innovation, but it only breeds innovation if they feel like they've actually got competition.
Yeah.
Anything else, Dad, in the world?
Is there anything else that you want to go over? Because that's kind of just what I'm done on.
I guess if anything, just the amazing outpouring of people, especially with this month in Pride. It's an amazing thing to see.
Pride, baby!
So amazing to see so many wrestlers come out and just give their support, whether they are part of the LGBT community or as an ally. It's such a wholesome and amazing thing to see.
Yes. Speaking of which, it's time for a special Pride version of Riordan's Recommendation Corner. It's time to go, baby.
Shoot,
All right. So, seeing as this is Pride, and as a bisexual, I am officially at full power, like Soza's fucking comet has arrived. I'm going to recommend a couple of LGBT YouTube people who don't get enough views because YouTube's algorithm, well, we can talk about that. Yep. But first off is Yara Zaid, who is who does various different kind of like movies and stuff. A few favorite videos of mine are on the kaiju movie Colossal, which is a great movie if you haven't seen it, and on how Holmes talks about the prison industrial complex. Also one of my favorite movies as a child. She's really good. A very sparkly style, let's put it that way. but like her stuff is really top tier. And then next up we have Curio. They also are a media analyzer, and right now at the time of this recording, the premiere of their video, The Matrix Sequels Are Good, actually is about to come out, so I'm excited for that. We're big fans of The Matrix, all of it.
Yeah.
On this channel. So I would highly recommend Curio. They are just like so many of their stuff is so good. So you will find some gems. So big up to them.
A new curious question now, like curious thought popped into my head. Would you have been even more excited if The Matrix 4 had cast Dave Bautista in a role?
Hey, don't talk to me like that. Don't put that.
Okay, but does Batista get to wear small sunglasses?
Yeah,
absolutely. Listen, there are only two men in the entirety of the Matrix franchise that should be allowed to wear the no ear strap sunglasses. That's Lawrence Fishburne and Dave Bautista. Those two men get to wear those kinds of sunglasses, and I hate that you put that in my head. And I will curse you forever.
Alrighty then. Quickly moving on before Ready kills me.
Can I just quickly take over for a second?
Absolutely, Dan.
Just first of all, I want to say an amazing thank you to everyone who is here and supporting us while we talk about and do a bunch of stuff in promotion of Pride.
Yep.
We really appreciate the support that we get for ourselves.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
And as creators trying to help give a voice to the LGBT plus community in wrestling, and just get the opportunity to share stories and get to talk about this kind of thing and see all the people who now are wrestling and feel comfortable enough to be open as themselves.
Absolutely.
My recommendation for this week is the amazing book Philosophy Smackdown by Douglas Edwards. If you've ever wanted a book that combines concepts of philosophy with professional wrestling, then please do pick this book up, because it is great and it really does make you think about wrestling in a slightly different way.
I'm so looking forward to reading this now, Dan.
Yeah, I am really looking for. Like, it's amazing how that book just completely fits in the.
It fits into such a specific niche of the intersection of two things that I am like, I don't know how these things would go together, but I'd like to see someone try. And then I'm reading it and I'm like, this raises really good points.
That book is really the Venn diagram of this podcast.
High culture and wrestling.
Basically, all I'm saying is, right, the open invitation's still there, but I still want to see one episode of Philosophy Tune where Abigail is dressed like she's part of Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling. That's all that's a vision and an image I want to see in
I think
the near
this
future.
is our quest now.
It is our quest. Abigail.
Wolverine's quest, at least.
Yeah, it's definitely my Abigail. Notice us. Notice us, Abigail.
Alrighty, with all that being said, it is time to get on with our Q&A session. Now, our lovely social media manager, Dan, here, put out an open call to everyone on social media, on our Twitter, at Sweet Chinwag, to give us questions. Anything you wanted to know about us, about the podcast, anything about wrestling, about the production process of the podcast. It was out there in the open, an open question there for everyone. And I believe, Dan, you have collated some of the best questions from that.
Collated a collection of questions for all of us free to answer.
And as I said, if you guys are interested, if anyone actually did bring that up, Dan, but if no one did, I am more than happy to talk about some of my previous employment with a certain company if you guys are very interested in knowing about that as well.
Oh god, this is where we get sued, isn't it?
No, I'm trying to be as safe as possible.
Diplomatic as possible.
Diplomatic, that's the word. But no, go ahead, Dad. You have the honours of possibly presenting this one.
Yeah.
So we will start off with the first two questions. They come from the Scottish Nerd at Scott Nerd. Also has his own podcast, Universe Hero.
Mm-hmm.
First question is, when you put everything together, wrestling skill, storytelling, promos, character work, who do you believe is the greatest of all time?
Oh.
The complete package.
The complete package. Because I know my answer, but I'll do mine last because I'm asking the questions.
Ooh. Do you want me to go first, Riordan?
Yeah, you go first.
I mean, look, the answer's pretty simple for me. It's Daniel Bryan.
That's a very good choice.
I mean, a lot of people doubted his mic skills / charisma when he first debuted on NXT, but I feel like he surprised a lot of people, but it didn't surprise me because I knew he had that in him from his days in Ring of Honor. A lot of people just thought he was nothing more than technical skill and ring prowess, but boy, did he win and prove a lot of people wrong.
He showed out.
WWE. And gosh, look at him now. Like, he's one of the, to this day, is still regarded as one of the most over baby faces in WWE. They've killed for so long to have someone who was so over the way Daniel Bryan was. And not just that, but the man is second to none in terms of his ring psychology, his technical ability, and just be able to tell a match from moves. Like, even rest holds. He's incredibly gifted in doing rest holds.
Randy Orton eat your heart out.
But no, yeah, without question. And I'm pretty sure that Joseph will agree with me on that one, because he did a whole hour documentary on why Daniel Bryan is the greatest of all time.
Why Daniel Bryan is the greatest of all time.
Which was like, God, what a great documentary.
It's a great video.
Great.
But that's fine one.
For anyone.
Sweetest question. Okay. It's hard. It's so hard. It's so difficult. But gun to my absolute head, I have to say Ric Flair. Gun to my head, I have to say Ric Flair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the man could just do anything. And I think the passage of time wins that out.
Yeah,
I would say, because it's like it was between him and the
respectfully, Ric Flair has been doing the same thing for what, 50 years now?
Yeah,
and it's still over,
and it still works.
Yeah, not even that it's still over; it still works. It is like he has survived the changes up to the point where he retired. So I'm like, it has to be him. The closest, the second was the Undertaker in terms of doing everything, in terms of like heel, face, fighting like the more high flying, going for big matches. But it was the passage of time caught up to him, I would argue, in just like the last 5 years of his career. He got close, I'd argue he got very close. But yeah, in terms of it, I have to say Ric Flair. I'd have to say Ric Flair is a boring answer, because I think it's a correct answer.
There's no boring answers.
Yeah,
I mean, no one did the punch in the face and pratfall as good as Ric Flair did.
Yeah. I mean, it's the thing of, like, I would say one of the big marks of leaving a legacy on the industry is when you have something named after you.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely.
And that Flair selling is a known thing.
Yeah, I mean, and although I will say that this might be me yesterday watching the promo. Who are you to tell me how to wrestle?
Yes.
Hey.
Which is one of the greatest telling a story promos I've ever seen.
I mean, like, to be fair, I am one of the people where my opinion will change literally on some certain fit topics just day to day anyway. So
yeah, but yeah, right now I gotta say Ric Flair.
For me, it's exactly the same as Sam. For me, it's Daniel Bryan.
There you go. The two wrestling fans and the casual. There you go.
Oh, I see how it is. We're drawing down that line. All right.
No, for me, Daniel Bryan can genuinely do anything and everything, and honestly, it makes it seem like he can do it with the utmost ease.
Yeah, that is true.
You know, from when he was doing his heel work in ROH, the matches against Nigel McGuinness, like they get the ones that I often point to, Daniel Bryan versus Takeshi Morishima.
Yeah.
It's like a mashing of people and styles and physicality that, like, in a way you think shouldn't work, but he makes it look honestly effortless.
Yeah.
And that stems through to, you know, when he was in WWE, to, you know, being the person that the fans wanted. He became a representation of, like, what the fans wanted to see.
Yeah.
Through sheer force of will and energy and drive to be able to build that kind of momentum.
From sheer ability, honestly.
Purely from just how he wrestled and how he went about himself, to things like the Planet Champion run, which I absolutely adore.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think for a lot of people, it just showed that he can genuinely go between either side and play the entire spectrum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
That hemp title was
why,
so good. It was so good.
Yeah, which is why I give him my title of greatest of all time. There are people that I can think of maybe as pure wrestlers I would put above him.
Like, I would
And
go...
people that I would say is pure talkers, I might put above him, but as an all-in-one package, Daniel Bryan.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Yeah,
that's
because
fair.
I was going to
No.
say, like, honourable mentions for me would be William Regal, Mitsuharu Misawa, The Rock, and...
I love The Rock so much, like everyone else on this planet, but I don't know if I can put him on that list just due to shit actual like wrestling ability, which sounds harsh, but it's just like he's just like
if I was to go through each single point separately, you'd probably get different answers for all four of them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But like, actually, as an all-in-one being, Daniel Bryan for me.
Yeah, Bryan for sure.
That's fair. Like also another close call is actually Stone Cold Steve Austin, but it's hard because of that one pile driver changed so much of his style.
Yeah.
So we can never really know.
So I guess the question I guess from this now, what we said was, would you love to have seen a match like Flair in his prime in the 80s versus Daniel Bryan?
Yes. Oh yeah, if they were doing an NWA style match.
Oh gosh, yeah.
They were doing an NWA match. Give him 60 minutes.
Yeah.
I think that would be the greatest American wrestling match ever done. So
What, not Edge versus Orton at Backlash?
No,
because it's funny you say that, because the one I said to people was Daniel Bryan versus Randy Savage peak WWE.
Oh,
but I know in the context of the time, it wouldn't be received the same way as it would now.
Yeah,
True.
Yeah,
but you know.
No. I'd have to actually slightly amend that. Dragon. Everyone at their prime. Dragon Steamboat Bryan.
Oh, that would have been great.
Again, that'd be fantastic.
Anyway,
moving on to the next question. Again from Scotch Nerd. What is the most uncomfortable you have been watching wrestling?
Mae Young giving birth to a severed hand.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yep,
that's a very fair one. That's a fair one.
No question. I'm not even going to elaborate, but that one.
No, real wrestling fans will know.
Yeah, uncomfortable.
Because I know my answers, but
you go, because that's an actual that's a difficult question for me.
Okay, actually. So. The build-up to WrestleMania 19 between Triple H and Booker T.
Oh, yep.
Yeah, that's also
is a pretty obvious one. And then the other one that I am going to say, I'm kind of flip-flopping between things because I'm trying to be, careful about different styles and stuff. The other one that I am going to say was probably the first time I watched a BJW match, Big Japan Wrestling.
Oh, yeah. I don't blame you.
Because I don't think anything could have prepared me for what I was going to see. But it was still instrumental in me becoming a deathmatch ghoul, so...
Cool.
Yeah, the most uncomfortable for me... New Jack.
Yeah.
Just straight up New Jack.
That's entirely up there as well.
Yeah, there were a couple of ones that were smaller, but I think it was the intent that got me.
Well, no, because like I said, there was other stuff as well. So I was thinking like the third. Oh God, it's one of the early Mike Awesome versus Masato Tanaka matches where Mike Awesome dumps Masato Tanaka on his neck to the outside.
Mm-hmm.
And there were also some other ones. So like, I was going to throw it. Do you remember the Piggy James storyline?
That
made me feel uncomfortable, even in the context of the time, even though it was like.
Oh wait, no, actually, I got one. I got one in general. Eddie exploitation.
Yeah. in the like reference to New Jack as well. I only ever watched 2 minutes of it, but it was the mass transit incident made me very uncomfortable.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, just.
I mean, that makes everyone feel uncomfortable. Actually.
Yeah,
for good reason.
a very good reason. Yeah, those are my answers. I would say.
Okay. From a boy Steve at SCW Wrestling Channel.
Hey!
What was the moment, match, or storyline that made you a wrestling fan?
Oh. I have two, actually. For some reason. Like, I have two. The two ones that made me a wrestling fan is that, and I think I've said this before, I can't remember who it was. And it's going to make me sound so brutal. But I don't know. I can't remember which, like, it was both during the Attitude Era. Where this one, where I don't know who it was, but I believe, like, it was a wrestler and his female valet. And he picks up the steel stairs, is about to like hit his opponent, blah blah blah. And like he does the classic dodges out of the way and he smacks this woman with the steel steps in a way I've never seen someone sell before or since. It was a fantastic sell. And it was one of the most violent. I was like 5 years old, and it's one of the most violent things I've ever seen up to that point. And I couldn't believe what I had just seen. Like, when you're 5 years old, especially at that time, like, there's that whole thing of you don't hit a woman. You don't hit a woman at all. So to see, like, a woman get bodied,
blasted with a set of steel steps.
Yeah, left an impression, and I was like, I have to see more. And then it was me watching Goldust get electrocuted.
Yeah.
I just seeing that and being what the fuck am I watching here? Just made me a fan forever to see that kind of absolute madness.
For me, two kind of big factors when I started watching wrestling. One of them was Kurt Angle. Like, Kurt Angle.
Call me Kurt Angle.
Kurt Angle's rookie year is still revered, and rightly so, for being one of the best damn rookie years.
Again, that's why it lives in legacy.
Yeah.
But his character work of being an absolute goofball was amazing. I mean, let's remember the whole invasion thing with the Jimmy Crack Corn and I Don't Care. I'm gonna live in gold. With the cowboy hat was great. But I feel like another one, a big one, was Chris Jericho. Yeah, Chris Jericho's character, his in-ring prowess, the matches he would have with Kurt Angle, Eddie Guerrero, Benoit, were absolutely amazing. Because I know everyone loves the main event scene. Everyone loved Rock, Austin, Triple H. Everyone was absolutely invested in that. But it was the mid-card where I was like, this is really winning me over. Like, these guys are doing some amazing, like, backflips, transitions into, like, headlocks, rolls, takedowns. It was so, even at that age I became a technical wrestling lover. So I guess you could say from an early age I was a mark.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
I can't protest that.
Brother.
All right, what do you got, Dan?
For me, they're both matches. First one was when my older brother showed me Rey Mysterio versus Eddie Guerrero from Halloween Havoc 1997.
Oh yeah.
Because I remember looking at it and thinking, like, oh god, this is like the stuff Power Rangers do, but in real life.
Yeah.
And just being absolutely entranced by it. And I guess it's just that thing of like, how the hell did they do this? And like, even though I just didn't properly understand what was happening, it was just one of those things that I just saw it and was just like, well, I immediately love this right now. This is now my new favorite thing in the whole world. The other one, though, as I will be discussing with the guys over at Stranger Rings, TLC 2.
Hey, yeah.
Yeah, that'd do it.
That'd do
Would
it.
do it.
Any of the early TLC matches absolutely blew my mind as a young person going back and watching them.
Yes.
And just thinking, like, how the hell are people allowed to do this? And how the hell are people bringing this together as a thing? Like, there's just so much happening that you just watch it and you just kind of you literally just being drawn in, like, pulled in by a string, just with each next thing that happens.
Yeah.
And it absolutely, like, changed my perspective on... it changed my perspective on wrestling to a degree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just remember from seeing it just being like, oh my god, this is like my new favorite thing in the world now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next, from the boys at Making Kayfabe.
Hey!
Would you rather fight one Great Khali-sized Hornswoggle or 10 Hornswoggle-sized Great Khalis?
Okay. Now these are
Hornswoggle?
That's
They've also added the clarification that the 10 Hornswoggle-sized Great Khalis would be known as Carlittles.
Maybe vertically challenged.
Oh God.
Could you imagine a Great Khali-sized Hornswoggle?
I can. So here's the thing. I would actually say Great Khali-sized Hornswoggle, because Great Khali, like, Hornswoggle still has relatively short reach in terms of, like, actual, like, arm reach. So I think, like, a real stick and move style could actually work.
This is how you can know that we're higher level thinkers, right? Because we're considering this information.
No, but, like, you gotta consider that, right?
Oh, no. Look, trust me. When you get to me, I'll give you a full itemized description.
Yeah, like, whereas, like, 10 Hornswoggle-sized Great Khalis will still have that arm reach and will still be able to quite whack you quite hard. 10 on 1.
See, thing is, for me, I would go for the Carlittles, mostly because if they were going for the brain chop, they wouldn't hit your head. You'd be able to, they'd be hit. I mean, your shins will hurt like hell after the match, but it's like you could easily just kick them around for a little bit.
This is a side note for anyone that listens to this episode and wants to do some Photoshop work for us. Could you please take a picture of the Great Khali, make him short, and then add text that says "Mum says it's my turn on the Xbox." Thank you.
Maybe Xbox?
Oh God. No, you see, you're like, we're not talking like, yeah, they're not going to be able to brain chop, but they're going to be able to body chop, and 10 of them body chopping, it's gonna take you down. It's gonna take you down. I disagree highly. It's gotta be. If
they're walking the exact same as Khali does, just like slowly stomping, you'd be easily given the runaround, sure.
Mate, no.
Okay,
no.
all right. Here's my rationale, right?
Okay, what have you got?
Here's my rationale. First off, I don't like the numbers disadvantage. Right? There's 10 of them and 1 of me. Even though they are shorter than me, which is unusual for me, to say the least. There's still 10 of them, right?
Yes.
Like, if I get cornered, that's it. It's a wrap.
Yeah.
Right? Second of all, I'm just thinking, right? It's one Great Khali-sized Hornswoggle, right?
Yeah.
I'm going for the legs.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going for the legs every day of the week.
You're going to go full Anoki against Ali. Just go straight for the legs.
Yeah.
Right?
Remember,
I'm there. It's a really tall Hornswoggle, right? I'm thinking in my head, right? Like you said, mobility advantage. Right? I think I've got the movement. Keep it to the mat. Go for the legs.
Yeah.
Slowly chop him down, Rey Mysterio style.
Yeah.
Right? and then from there, it's like not plain sailing, but like it's a little bit easier.
Yeah, exactly.
Look, either way, it's not going to be an easy night for anyone if you go up against either option. Isn't
No,
it?
it's not. Listen,
either one will still end up with me being horrifically bruised afterwards.
Yeah. Look. I'm not saying it's going to be easy. I'm still collapsing to the ground. What I'm saying is strategically, I think you are underestimating how 10. Come on, man. I know you are the tallest of us by a country mile, Sam. But nah, mate, you can't be doing that.
Fair enough.
See, like I said, we had considered this. We are higher level thinkers.
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
All this though reminds me. I feel like, man, I miss Bryce and Dylan. I feel like we need to get them back on the show again.
Yeah, well, after we're done with June, we'll have people back.
Absolutely.
It's just that June is very busy.
Absolutely. Nah, we miss you, Bryce and Dylan. Still loving what you're doing.
We love you guys.
Love the Spike Dudley episode recently. So.
Oh.
Love some more attention to Spike Dudley.
Oh yeah.
Next question. Josh Robinson. Hey! Says, when are you coming to visit Josh in Australia? My answer to that is when someone gives us enough money that we can go to Australia.
Can I just say for the record that I am terrified of the continent of Australasia, and I will have to go there kicking and screaming. However,
Is it because one of the prerequisites of opening the car is just spraying air to make sure a spider's not living in the handle?
Yes! As a matter of fucking fact. I don't give a They always talk about it. Listen, okay, time to go on a fucking rant here. They always talk about, oh, don't worry, it's not like, it's only on the outback. Fuck off! No, it isn't. They're everywhere. They're fucking spiders, the size of dinner plates, everywhere. Oh, they're not poisonous. I don't give a fuck. They're spiders the size of dinner plates. Fuck that noise. It'd have to be for a job. You'd have to pay me. You'd have to pay my hotel. I'm not going to Australia willy fucking nilly. Nah, mate. With that being said, if you want to pay us to go, we'll go. That's it. Nah.
So I'm guessing that's a hard no from Riordan. Sorry, Josh.
That's a fuck you, pay me.
We love you, Josh. Keep doing what you do. You're an awesome guy.
Yeah. You keep going, Josh.
Yeah, like I said, if a company wants to come along and give us a bunch of money and say, hey, we're paying for you to go to Australia, then yes.
Yes, that's absolutely.
Or until we're earning enough money that going to Australia, just deciding is a viable option.
On your own.
Connor from Wrestling with Fiction says, if you could pick a character from any medium, TV, film, anime, comics, games, etc., who would you want to see make a wrestling debut? And he says that he hopes that we're having a lovely day. We are.
We are, absolutely. Thank you, Connor.
That's a damn good question. That's a damn good question. See, when it comes to, it's funny asking that question because a lot of my favorite characters in media are based on wrestlers. So it becomes that thing of do I just put someone in that's based on it? With that being said, however, I have two. I've always wanted a what if Spider-Man stayed a wrestler, because that's how it was canonically. Yeah. He was an entertainer / wrestler. I would love to see a little thing of him, what if he actively just stayed in the wrestling and just made a debut. I think he'd be good. I would love to see I'd love to see how his gimmick would change. That would be fascinating.
For this one, I feel like the greatest character in anime who has an arc that is pretty much atypical of a professional wrestler is Vegeta.
Yeah.
Vegeta
is a god tier heel. God tier heel.
Could you imagine that? Could you imagine Vegeta the quest to hunt for the greatest title in wrestling, and it eats him up alive, and suddenly he has to turn heel when he aligns with Majin Buu, who's been the champion for so long.
I think actually my booking for this would be Vegeta as general manager.
Yes.
That'd be my
Vegeta.
that would be because especially considering it would be a lot of like because back to you think tonight you're going 1-on-1 with me and he just beat the crap out of everyone.
Kakarot tonight.
Yes. But in terms of actual like anime characters, I would Alex Louise Armstrong from Full Metal Alchemist.
Yeah.
Is my honest to God pick.
Why didn't they give Braun Strowman that character? It would have been perfect.
Oh, if they gave him the mustache. Oh, I fucking love that shit. Besides, you could definitely see him. Like, I'd love to see Armstrong versus Iron Sheik. That would be a fucking match right there.
Yes.
Yeah. Who can make the other humble?
If you want my options, one is I think it's actually one that he's already done on one of his episodes. I can't remember if he did it exactly. I'm gonna say Majima Goro.
Yes.
Oh God.
Because I think like Majima is just like prime Japanese heel. And also, in the context of the Yakuza games, he keeps kayfabe alive.
He would have one of the most truly tremendous WrestleMania entrances. Let's be honest.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Coming out of a manhole cover because got to keep kayfabe, haven't you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's definitely up there for me.
That's a damn good. Yeah.
Just because it would just. Just a guy who's seemingly completely off his nut with an eye patch and loads of tattoos that wrestles in dress pants.
So basically, that sounds like Yakuza Orange Cassidy, frankly.
In a way, yes.
Yes. Special shout out for me would be Method Man, especially just his character in the Def Jam games.
The Wu-Tang Clan, as a stable. Like, I don't know if they count. Do they count?
They would count as a stable. They would count. I guess they would count as a stable and or faction, depending on who you are.
Yeah.
Although, what we're saying that go Japanese style, the Wu-Tang unit.
Yeah, God, like, can you imagine, like, fucking Old Dirty Bastard versus Mick Foley?
Yes, please.
Now that would be a fucking match.
The RZA and the Jizza versus Dangerous Tekkers for the IWGP Tag Team titles.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. If I'm going anime, I feel like the obvious. This is gonna sound like an obvious answer for me, but probably Dio.
Yes.
I
feel like
I did think on that. I'm not sure actually.
I feel like JoJo is prime picking for professional.
I mean,
wrestling.
I just see it as like that. I guess I would say evil general manager.
Yeah, I would say like not wrestling.
His life's mission is just to fuck over this one particular person.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I think he would make a much better like a Paul Heyman. That's the kind of thing I'm going for.
See, Dio would have been perfect for Lucha Underground.
Yes.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, perfect.
Absolutely.
And then for comics, this is probably going to sound stupid. I'm going to say Harley Quinn, and I'm going to say Harley Quinn for the explicit reason of every single promotion I've seen that's either gone heavy on women's wrestling or has tried to go for a women's wrestling-centric approach has tried to have someone who is just Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
So just stick Harley Quinn in.
Just cut.
Everyone's tried to copy it.
Yeah.
So just cut the middle woman out.
Yeah.
Put her in there.
Oh man, I was gonna
What a
say,
good
yeah.
question.
I was gonna
What a
say,
good
you know,
question.
because it's always brought up. We brought it up at the WCW episode. Eric Draven versus Sting. Who's the better Crow?
Like the Crow is indestructible unless you actually attack the Crow. So, I'm sorry, Sting.
Oh my god. Next question from Nathan Greenaway, who's over at the guys with Project Dits. I think he's with Plus Added Time. Or it might be with Hallway.
So.
Says, would you recast Hugh Jackman as Van Helsing in a reboot?
No.
No, you know what? Actually, no, because Van Helsing is meant to be old,
Yes.
and Hugh Jackman ages like Wolverine, so he's fine.
Yes.
Yeah.
You could very easily do. I would love to see him a Van Helsing movie where he's a lot more. But then again, I actually thinking
The
about
early
it.
years of Van Helsing the Vampire Hunter.
Yeah, you know what? Actually, thinking about it, I think I would prefer if Hugh Jackman had been cast in the Castlevania anime.
True.
Yes.
I think that is what I would need.
Would you have had him
I
as
wouldn't-
Trevor Belmont? Or would you have had him as Van Helsing?
I would have him either as Van Helsing or that character, the Count Saint-Germain. I would have casted him. That's what I would have done. But as for actually doing it, who would you get in a remake of Van Helsing anyway? God.
I know the opportunity at this point is probably past, but if they did one like a good decade earlier or so, I probably would have said Jeff Bridges.
Ooh, that's a solid one actually. But
Basically, my prerogative for that is True Grit.
Yes.
yeah,
Now,
But
yeah.
just Jeff Bridges is like the aged vampire hunter who's like progressively done with shit, but also acknowledges like the inequities inherent to his role.
I've got a cursed casting.
on.
Yeah.
Nick Cage.
Yeah, that is cursed.
That is cursed.
Now Nick Gage, the vampire hunter.
Yeah. MDK.
Yeah. But
Smashes Dracula with a light tube.
I'd say casting wise. How about the guy who did the performance for Heisenberg in Resident Evil Village?
Good shout.
Good shot. But yeah, as for a remake, nah, man, you could get him back. You could get him back.
Of course. Of course.
I disagree in recasting.
Going on next, we'll cover a few questions because they asked quite a few. Wrestling by Wooldridge, who's again another great guy. Mm-hmm. First question: what is your favorite pay-per-view of all time?
Ooh.
Of all time.
I can spring my one off the top of my head. SummerSlam 2000.
Fair. My honest answer is I don't have one. My honest answer. My one is I have pay-per-view matches that I adore, but in terms of I don't think I have a full one. I
would say SummerSlam 2000. It's by no means the perfect card. There's quite a few bad matches on it, but there's enough great matches that it sticks pretty intensely in my memory as one of my favorite ones of all time. So even though it's not got the most amazing matches or anything like that, it's the one that sticks out the most in my head.
I'm gonna say ECW One Night Stand 2005 because I think everything was so. Every element was so on point. Like the crowd were into it. Paul Heyman was into it. The wrestlers they got in there were just wanting this to work, and it did. It did, and then some. That
One Night Stand does have a very particular alchemical energy that can never be replicated.
Absolutely.
It's the energy you get when you actually, like, you know, pay tribute to the thing you're paying tribute to.
Yes.
Yeah.
And of course, that did give us the great sight of watching the next couple of weeks of watching Stevie Richards twat JBL over the head with a steel chair.
Big mood.
Big mood.
Next question. What is your opinion on a potential partnership between New Japan and WWE?
I don't see it working. I just don't.
As I said...
Really...
Oh, God, sorry, Ren.
I don't see it working. Those companies are far too different. Far too different in terms of style and in terms of philosophy. That's a mess. I'm sorry.
It's a
really
cultural chasm, basically, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
For me, I mean, as I said last week, it's been well documented in the past. They did have a working relationship in the 80s, for sure. Today's day and age, I can't realistically see it happening. But you know, you never know. It does open the option of having some really great matches. Of course, it does. Yep. You know, when you hear stuff like this, the fantasy booking part of your brain always goes into overdrive. But I feel as we said, the cultural chasm. I feel like it wouldn't be as beneficial for both companies if they did.
Yeah.
Yeah. My view on it is, obviously there's a whole bunch of you know, the fantasy booking stuff, and the ideas that you could have. But personally, I feel like the two companies operate on, you know, completely different philosophies, completely different styles. And like I've said to my friends who don't watch Japanese wrestling pretty much at all, Japanese wrestling fans like completely different stuff to what American fans do.
Oh yeah.
There's a completely different cultural sense and perception about, you know, what wrestling is, how wrestling works, and how wrestling should be.
Yeah.
And you know, it's like not everyone's going to mesh over, and I feel like we've kind of seen that with Nakamura, with Kenta as Hideo Itami. And it's like I said to some friends of mine who again have no exposure or very little exposure to Japanese wrestling. For example, someone like Shibata cannot exist outside of Japan.
No.
Someone like, you know, Minoru Suzuki or Satoshi Kojima, or, you know, if we say the New Japan Old Guard, could not exist in the WWE environment.
No.
There's simply no place for them, and I think that extends out even to some of, you know, like the Young Lions now with like Gabriel Kidd, Yuya Uemura, Ren Narita. You know, they just exist in their own space.
Yeah.
And I just don't feel like there's that crossover to make it work.
Exactly. Yeah, I agreed on that one.
This one, and then this last one is just quickly following on. Do you think Daniel Bryan's desire to wrestle opponents outside of WWE could have had anything to do with these rumors? To which I say potentially yes.
Absolutely,
probably.
I'd say.
Yeah.
I mean, with everything that's gone on, Nick Khan would probably want to keep him on, as he's one of probably the biggest draw that they have in the company. So, You know, Daniel Bryan expressed interest of wrestling outside of that. They expressed wrestling in Japan and Mexico. So, it probably in his mind is, all right, we'll go to the source of the issue.
You know, there's other stuff as well. Like, not only like a month before this, Nakamura came out and said, I want my retirement match to be against Tanahashi. And you know stuff like that. You know, you can talk about the influence of guys like AJ Styles, obviously Daniel Bryan, Finn Balor.
Yeah.
You know, you could look at the growth of guys like Kushida in NXT.
Mm-hmm.
as being a potential course for that. One of the new guys over in 205 Live, Ikemen Jiro, who's absolutely growing a small fan base over there, as being part of it. And I would say the general growing sense of awareness of Japanese wrestling in the US. I mean, I would say in the UK it's actually probably at a higher level than the US, just because of Pro and stuff like that.
Yeah,
there's a lot.
I'd argue. I'd argue if there was a bigger, if there was an actual like big company that was in the UK, I'd argue that the UK Japan that could work very easier, much easier than American Japan.
But yeah, I feel like it's quite a few things coming together, along with what I believe it to be, which is corporate posturing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is, you know, whether or not it's Nick Khan or if it's IWGP management wanting to kind of, you know, pressure the deal they already have. Because, like, let's be fair at this point, now ROH has exclusive deals with CMLL, ROH, and AEW. As partner promotions. And I guess now, kind of in a way that it also extends out to Impact through New Japan Strong.
Yes.
So, to then all of a sudden say, let's drop every single bit of that while we're in a bunch of storylines to then jump over to WWE is an odd decision, we'll say.
But there have been more odder things that have happened in pro wrestling.
Without question.
Next one from the guys over at It's Our House podcast. Where do you think Braun Strowman would be best suited after leaving?
Impact. I had a little thought about this when I saw the story, and I thought to myself, he would really, if he really wanted to go back, because I have heard that he wants to go into competitive bodybuilding. Impact would be a nice place for him. I guess you could say as a stopgap for his career. I think he genuinely would be treated well. He would have a wealth of good competitors over there. Not mentioning names like Big Cass, Moose as well. Yeah. He would have great matches with. I'd even think he'd have some great matches with Rich Swann as well.
Yeah,
I think it would be a nice way to start his career in the Indies if he was to go down that road.
Yeah. Freedom.
Yeah, I agree with Sam here, but I don't see AEW really. New Japan, definitely not. Yeah, it's got to be. Yeah, I agree. I agree with Impact. I haven't got much to say. I think that's best idea.
So I'm probably going to be the splitter here and jumping off something that Rin said. If he was genuinely about it, and he was genuinely about saying I'm staying in wrestling, then I would say to him, given some of the track record they have, it's not perfect. Go and be a gaijin in Japan.
I don't know, man.
All I'm saying is, right, if they were able to deal with Albert and Tomko.
And they did do quite well over in Japan. Quite prolific they had careers they had over there.
So I'm just saying, like, if he was genuinely about it and genuinely wanted to stay in wrestling, I would say potentially go to Japan, become, take your place as a monster gaijin wrestler, probably pick up a good few advertising deals while you're there, become a bit of a media celebrity, and go that route. Impact is obviously there as well.
Yeah.
But as I said to other people, I wouldn't be surprised if the next time I see Braun Strowman is while watching World's Strongest Man on Channel 5 at 2 a.m.
True.
So yeah, that's what I would say. If he's about it, Japan. If he's interested in going the route on the Indies, which, given some of the bridges he probably completely scorched, given his statements last year, maybe Impact. And then, just lastly, for this set of questions, what did you make of the 60-minute Iron Man match on Impact? Now, I'm assuming, Rid, you haven't seen this.
I have not seen this because I'm busy asshole.
If you want my opinion on it, disregarding my views and opinions on TJP, which are strong, let this be the cause for everyone to see the pure talent and ability of Josh Alexander. And let it be known just how good he is. He is incredible, and I'm happy that he is getting more and more attention as time goes on, and people are seeing him more as a singles wrestler.
Yeah.
I mean, I've absolutely loved his work since he was in the North. And of course, it's a great show for Impact as well. Josh Alexander's kind of committed to them at this point, so it is genuinely good to see that he's still able to do that, and Impact is still able to put out high quality stuff, even though they've kind of been in a bit of a dire position recently.
Absolutely. Pretty much everything Dan said. God, is Josh Alexander good?
Yeah,
he's really good.
Think that leaves us where we are with it.
Pretty much.
Okay, going over to the questions that we got sent, private messages, stuff like that, people who don't want to be named or whatever. Wrestling crush, then and now.
Oh gosh. Oh god.
Then, now, forever. Okay. Oh god.
I guess the phrasing of it is like, who was your first and who is current?
Oh no.
I'm guessing that's the phrasing. I probably should have clarified this with them, but
yeah. Oh god. Damn, the floor is yours.
okay. Then was Victoria,
Fair.
aka Tara, for those who don't know. Now is probably... Oh, that's I'm just trying to think, like... Okay, I will say... oh my god, this is like...
I know, right?
Why is this the one that racks my head?
Yeah. I have my now. My den. What was my den?
Okay, I'm just gonna say Asuka and Finn Balor.
Fair. Very fair.
So,
yeah.
I guess for me, crush-wise, I never really have had, say, a crush.
I was gonna say, is this gonna be like a consideration for you, or you're gonna pass out on this one?
I was gonna say no. It's because I've never really had a crush, but I guess you could say that the I guess the closest thing I could say would probably be complete and utter respect for them. So Molly Holly was then, and probably still is now, but the one now has to be Bull Nakano.
You know what? That's fair. That is entirely fair.
Yeah. For me, Den, having to wrap my brain, Den, it was Mickey James. Mickey James, Mickey James, AJ Lee. We're fuzzing the timeline a bit. I say Den. Now, and probably forever, it's Asuka. I've seen her in the ring and be like, oh my god. And then I think it's her social media persona that makes me go, oh no, she's everything. Oh no. Oh, oh dear. I was prepared for her to be like a relatively like stoic or not wanting like, relatively shy. I was not prepared for her being absolutely adorable and yet able to kick someone in the face. And with that,
because like that's the thing. I was there and I was like, there's like at least like 7 people I could probably list on here at certain points.
yeah, but really thinking about it, yeah, in terms of crushes, yeah, Mickey James.
Yep.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's
Favorite person or favorite wrestler not to win the top title?
favorite person to not win the. I've been lucky in that most of the guys that I really wanted have won at least once. So, yeah.
If I'm talking
Sam, what are you thinking?
if I'm talking about someone who didn't win the big one in WWE, I mean the obvious answer is Samoa Joe.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
The guy won
They just
titles
said
everywhere.
they just said your favorite wrestler to not win a top title.
yeah.
So if I was going to say in WWE, my answer would probably be Joe. He won it's crazy how he won everywhere except WWE. It's criminal almost.
Yeah, it is
It is
bizarre.
criminal. It is criminal.
I'd say that's mine. I'd go for that answer because that's a very nice kind of turnaround kind of answer.
Yeah. See, even I think the Hurricane won something. So
He won the cruiserweight title.
yeah. So really, I actually don't. This is tough. This is very tough. Dan, I got to think more on this. I got to really think more
Do you
on this.
do you want me to do mine?
Yeah, please.
I mean, I'm probably gonna. I mean, inside WWE, these ones are probably gonna seem really, really random. I'm gonna say Shelton Benjamin.
Yeah, that's weird.
Shelton Benjamin's definitely up there for me. John Morrison.
Yeah.
I mean, Joe is up there. If I'm looking outside of WWE, I mean Monty Brown.
Oh, crumbs, yes. I think Monty Brown is
Brown's
the universal
obviously up
answer.
there for me. It's like the universal answer. And then I mean when it comes to New Japan, there's a few people floating around. I'm going to ignore Minoru Suzuki because he won basically everywhere else.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say Ishii.
Yeah. That is
I think it's kind of criminal that Ishii hasn't won.
Yeah.
Oh, he hasn't won the IWGP heavyweight.
Yeah, I think with me, everyone that I've really wanted to win has won at least something. So I think I have to recuse myself from this question.
Okay, and then the last one in my set of questions. Again, pretty broad, but what are your tips for people thinking about becoming online creators?
Oh, don't do it.
Big mood.
Oh god. Okay, real talking. Oh Jesus, we're giving like career advice now. Shit.
I'm not the person to ask about that, but
I got a few.
Shall I go?
Yeah, you do it. You do it, and I'll have my own little.
I guess
general one.
For me, the one is don't ever come in with delusions of grandeur when you start out with this one, because that way you'll fail instantly. I know it's a very cliche answer to say, but for when I, started this with these two, I wanted to do it as a way of just being able to chat wrestling for 2 hours with these guys.
Yeah.
Never in a million years would I ever have expected this to be what
it
it
was
is
just us
now.
speaking into the void.
Exactly. Just enjoy what you do.
Yeah.
As well. Just absolutely enjoy it. And that's kind of what I would say to people. Don't come in with delusions of grandeur, and make sure you enjoy what you do. Again, very cliched. Welcome to my TED Talk answers.
Go after Riordan.
You can go. Yeah, you can go now.
Yeah.
If you want.
So obviously, as you said, enjoy what you do, and make sure you enjoy what you're creating. This one's more coming from the musician side of my brain, but don't force yourself to be creative, because all you will do is annoy yourself when you can't do it.
Yeah.
And I guess the other one I would say is don't let what you're creating subsume your life.
Yes.
Because I know a lot of people take it as, okay, well, I create stuff about wrestling, so I need to immerse myself in wrestling like 24/7, or whether or not it's like news about gaming, or if it's about film or whatever. And like, yes, through this now, wrestling is much more a part of my life than it ever was before. And part of that is down to me and my decision to, take up the mantle of doing the news and stuff like that. But if you let what you're creating about become the only thing in your life, you will start to feel incredibly dissatisfied.
Yeah.
Yes.
And very
it will wear
burnt out.
down on you quickly.
Yeah.
Before you even realize.
I had that happen to me, very funnily enough, when I worked at What Culture. It became an all-consuming part to the point where I absolutely detested watching wrestling for a little bit, because it was the constant thing of I had to make shoddy list videos during the day, and then the last thing I wanted to do was watch professional wrestling.
Yeah, exactly.
It's what I said. It's what I said to these guys. I put out on Twitter. God, it would have been back in like October now. I would say it was October, where like I just realized that I had made wrestling my life, and I was just giving myself no escape from it.
Yeah.
And then like it was like, well, if I'm not doing that, if I'm not doing that, then I'm handling stuff for the Twitter, and then I'm still interacting with stuff. If I'm not doing that, it's other stuff. So I guess, the other one is don't be afraid of giving yourself breaks away from the stuff that you're doing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah. Every piece of like advice I have is simple, like mental health stuff. For one thing, my big recommendation is have someone in your life who can check what you're doing. And I'm not saying that I'm not saying that even in like have an editor or like someone doing your lighting or whatever, although that would help if you can get it. What I'm saying is have someone out there to bounce off ideas with, so you're not just doing it completely isolated, because I feel like that is the major thing that kind of snaps you. If you do, especially in a kind of like in an environment like this, where like one of the positives is that you can just make stuff on your own and get it out there. That's great. But it also means that for the longest point, you are on your own with your stuff, and that can get really like you can get tunnel vision and subsumed into that very easily. My next bit of advice, and this is just some brass tacks. This environment is very toxic for creatives. I think we all know it. It's an open secret. And if you want to get into it, you have to be very aware of it. You cannot go into it thinking that you're like, it's going to be all sunshine and rainbows. It is not. There are people who are getting burnt out and quitting all the time. You hear it all the time. So find some way and some schedule that you can reasonably handle.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's a really, I cannot emphasize that enough. Everything else, like you said, if you like find your little corner and just go for it, don't be afraid about it, just do it. You will eventually find your audience. There are audiences watching, like, I have spent the last 3 weeks watching nothing but Sopranos clips. You will find some people. You will find people watching random shit, and you will get someone watching it.
Exactly.
So, like, that's my main thing. Just know what you're getting into is my main thing.
Good advice, Riordan. Good advice.
What can I say?
Do we have any more questions?
I've got a few here from a good friend of mine who wanted to chime in with a couple of questions. Now, one of the first question was, because she knew of my previous experience, what was my favourite video to work on at What Culture? That's a really good question. So I had a look through this morning of all of my entire archive of the stuff I did for What Culture. And I will say, probably the one I worked on that I had a lot of fun working on was the Adam's Pipe Bomb video on Vince McMahon is a terrible genius.
Yeah. Which is one I saw out in the wild before knowing it was you. So I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, another one that was probably the most popular one I have was the 10 things WWE don't want you to know about Stephanie McMahon. That's the most one in terms of like clicks, views, likes, comments. That was the one that's the most popular one out there. But the Vince McMahon is a terrible genius is probably my personal favourite one. That was a lot of fun editing that one, and actually always working with Adam Blompier was always an enjoyable experience. He was a very consummate professional guy, always was willing to help out. Can't say the same for certain people in that company as well, but I won't name names for obvious reasons. But that was my personal favourite one, and it was a weird year experience that was working for What Culture for sure. And it's an interesting little fact that I don't really get to talk about a lot with people.
Yeah, it's funny how that actually doesn't come up much on the podcast. Strange, isn't it?
It is. I mean, as I said, I've mentioned it in offhanded comments here and there, of course, but it's never properly come up that way, you know. It's strange, isn't it? Because a lot of people would think, oh, former guy at one of the most popular channels, you'd think, you know, that guy would be absolutely popular. No, not necessarily. Not necessarily, but I guess in that way, I on a personal note, I prefer it that way.
Yeah,
because this has been a very organic thing, and it's been such an amazing experience being able to do that with you two and build this little thing.
Well, thank you.
So another couple of questions. Your favourite accidental elimination of a Royal Rumble?
Oh, the boring answer is the correct one. It's Batista Cena.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think it's got to be Batista Cena.
Batista Cena, like, come on. I mean, a second is the Ringmaster, where Steve Austin was supposed to be in the final four in the, I believe it was 96 Rumble, but because the ropes were so sweaty and coated in baby oil, when he tried to skin the cat, when he got clotheslined over by Shawn Michaels, his fingers slipped off the ropes and he got eliminated. But no, it's Cena Batista, because it was so damn perfect how the pair of them landed in tandem.
Yeah, amazing.
And the final one from my friend, your favourite gear of a male or female wrestler, and you both know for me, it's Jushin Thunder Liger.
Yeah.
No questions. What about you two?
Oh, God. It has to be the light-up jacket, Chris Jericho's light-up jacket. Just incredible.
Yeah.
Fucking incredible.
Good choice, Dan.
For me... Oh, that's a toughie. I'd probably say just generally... for the amount of hits that he's had, Rey Mysterio and his like themed gear.
Oh
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
For Female, it's probably going to be boring for anyone that knows me, but I have the eternal image of Bull Nakano walking to the ring attached in my head, so probably that.
Yes.
Female, it has to be Naomi. Like, I seem to be the light up guy. Anything that lights up.
Yes, light up stuff does activate my goblin brain, where I'm like, ooh, shiny, lighty, sparkly.
Yes.
Yeah.
But feel the glow, baby, Naomi.
Yeah, feel the glow. Hell yeah.
Yeah. Hana Kimura for me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's a fair one.
She had some
Tokyo
really
Cyber
iconic,
Squad.
a really iconic ring gear for sure. And that's all the questions from my friend there. Riordan, do you have any questions from anyone, or is that?
No, actually, I did go through the channel. I didn't get anyone, you bastards. But
calling everyone out there, Riordan.
I'm calling all of you out, especially you, Holman.
That's...
You know who you are.
All right then. So I guess that is where we are going to wrap up with today's Q&A session. And gosh, man, what a year it's been.
You can say that again.
Yes. Agreed.
It's just everything I could have possibly imagined would happen. Not only has, but it's far exceeded my expectations of what was possible with this podcast.
Oh God, yeah, I didn't expect shit from this podcast, and I mean that with all love.
No, I think we all thought that. Let's be honest.
Yeah, like,
well, because my attitude to things is always, if I go in expecting the bare minimum, anything is improvement.
Exactly. And yet here we are, 51 episodes in, and boy, it's been a hell of an experience. I've enjoyed every single second of it.
Absolutely.
It has been a joy to do this.
Absolute joy.
And as I've said on numerous occasions outside of the podcast, and a couple of times in here, you've given me renewed passion and ambition for everything in my life, you two, with this thing. So from the bottom of my heart, honestly, thank you.
Okay, actually, here's my question for the Q&A. How great am I? That's my question.
Oh, you're so damn great.
Thank you.
On a scale of 1 to 10, you are a 15.
Mwah. There we go.
Ravishing Riordan's back again.
Oh, Ravishing. Don't start. I will take that. Don't start. Oh, shit. Here
man. So, yeah, 51 episodes down, and boy, we ain't stopping. We have got a load of great episodes planned. We've got some great episodes planned. We're going to be doing a couple more live streams. I'm so looking forward to our next one happening soon. As well as video content, we've got a couple of interviews in the pipeline that I'm very, very excited to get out to the world and happen. So yeah, full steam ahead. We're still doing, we're still rocking, we're still going, and I'm so excited.
Let's go.
So next episode, talking of all this, in light and in lieu of Pride Month here in June, we're going to be talking about LGBTQ plus wrestling. I'm going to go through everything from Gorgeous George all the way to Jake Atlas and Sonya Deville, among many, many more. With a short stop gap, of course, talking about Goldust, because, of course, that needs to be talked about when we're talking about this.
There's going to be a lot of tea, but there's also going to be a lot of love. Let's see how this goes.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like, it's like the thing we said, which is, like, when it comes to wrestling, there's a lot of tea. there's a lot of demons we need to exercise first.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that's going to be a hell of an episode to go over. So no, I'm very much looking forward to that. And gents, man, here's the 50 more.
Let's go.
Duty.
But until next time, I've been Sam. This has been Dan and Riordan, and from the bottom of our hearts, thank you ever so much for supporting us this entire journey. We've got actually quite a big announcement to come very, very, very soon, which we'll let people know on social media, and I guess we will let people know on our next episode.
Yeah.
So until then, I've been Sam, this has been Dan and Riordan, as I said, and you've been listening to the Sweet Chinwag Podcast. We'll see you as ever on the next one. Bye, everybody!
No more questions, damn it.